Hey guys, welcome back to the Icy Hat House. It's really cold out here today. We're not going to make it to the post office today. We've already told all of our customers that we're not going to make it, that it might be delayed today. But the ice is really bad here where we're at. We're going to get all the shipping done. We're going to get it all packed up. We got to get into this icy shed and get all the orders picked out. It's not too cold, but the ice is really bad here. So what would you guys do? Would you do you try to brave it to the post office to get your orders in? I already called eBay this morning and talked to them, and they said it was not a big deal. Of course, we were covered because of the conditions, and I'm not really willing to risk it. Property in my
down slope to get out of our driveway,
and the hill up our house is really bad too. So we're not going to risk it today, but we're going to get everything packed up and we'll show you everything that's sold. All right, guys, before we get into the hat sales today, I did want to let you know we've got a bunch of new subscribers since the last time we did a live video. We're going to be going live again this Thursday night around 7 o'clock Central Time. And what we do in our lives is we go through about 100 vintage hats. We unbox. I have somebody that picks a bunch of vintage hats for me, and there's all sorts of hats in here. They range anywhere from price to a $10 vintage hat to a $100 vintage hat, and just in between. So it's really exciting to go through those boxes. We talk about a lot about hat sales, what a hat is worth. Feel free to answer or ask any questions that you want to ask in the live. We answer all the questions. We talk about eBay, talk about Mercari, we talk about Poshmark. So make sure you join us for our live this Thursday night. We also give away a free hat. So we'll pull a hat out and then we'll decide which one we're going to give away. And we usually try to find a really cool one to give back to you guys for joining in on our lives. So in this video today, though, you don't want to miss, there is an $80 hat in this video that you want to check out. Make sure you look at that one. And it doesn't look that special, but there's something about it that makes it special and makes it an $80 hat. We've got some other really cool hats in here, lots of vintage sports hats as always, and then other cool hats you just want to be on the lookout for. So don't miss all these sales. All right, guys, we finally got everything picked out. It was super cold out there. It took us a lot longer than it usually does. Of course, that happens when it's colder and we don't want to be out there very long. But we got it all. But the hits keep coming here at the Hat House. About how many orders we got going out today, Mary?
we have about 97 orders going out, and we don't know if we have enough boxes to send everything out. So
yeah, kind of a result of the weather. I ordered boxes last week, and the delivery got pushed back a couple of days because of the weather. So they're dealing with the same things that we're dealing with. But these are the stacks that I have. Hopefully this makes it through. How many hats did you think it was?
It's about 70 hats, I think.
70-ish hats that we got to ship out. But it's going to be really close on boxes. Mary did a rough count. I think you got it around 60.
Yep.
About 60 boxes. If I have to use some priority boxes, I'll use some priority boxes. I already went around and scrounged up every return box, every other box that I could find in here to get these hats shipped out. So we'll see if we make it on the boxes. Hopefully we do.
That's not counting all the other platforms either.
Yeah, that didn't count Mercari, Poshmark. Poshmark, of course, we get to use a priority box, and we may have to send some out priority, but we'll see. Hopefully we make it. Hope that doesn't happen to you guys. Double check your supplies today. Make sure you're not running out. All right, first hat going out today is this Oklahoma Sooners OU Nike hat. This was part of our retail arbitrage that we did, the Marshalls video. If you saw that one, I'll probably put a link to it up here so you can go to that video and check it out. But I bought these at Marshalls for $10. This one's going out for $20 plus shipping. So we'll make $5 to $7 on this hat right here, maybe a little bit more. But retail arbitrage still works. Not a huge profit like you get picking up things at the thrift store, but pretty cool to have new stuff. And this is a really cool hat. Next up was this Murph Turf with the big patch on it. Murph Turf Farms. Just a regular strapback hat. Went out for $12. Sold really quick too. And $12 is a pretty good price for a strapback, just a farm hat. All right, next up was a combined order. It might be one of those things that helps bail us out on the box problem. But we sold 4 hats. This just had an M logo on it. And this was a Philadelphia Phillies, Colorado Rockies snapback, and Green Bay Packers fitted. All these went out for around 50 bucks for 4 hats and ships in 1 box. So that's a good deal. All right, next up was an Atlanta Falcons, just a 3930 flex fit, went out for $8. Next up is this Under Armour, and this is the Under Armour hat you want to keep it a lookout for. This one's, it's like blood, sweat, something, but it has the bull logo on it. These are really cool hats. This one went for 15, but sometimes you can get 20 or 30 for them. It's just trying to move some hats, and if they're in really good shape, these are pretty desirable. All right, next up was this Oakland Raiders that I got lowballed for $10 for almost a month. And it finally sold for $28. This was on the Twins Enterprise. It's a vintage twill Raiders hat. $28 on this one. I usually always hold out on the Raiders stuff and try to get the higher price. Got it. Next up was the Seattle Seahawks corduroy. It only went for $10, mainly because it had this crease in the bill. So the bill was creased and broken. So I took $10 on that one. But if this is in really good condition, this is a $30, $40 hat. Next up was this vintage Mickey Mouse. This one was really cool. Had the foam in the front, still in good shape. It's clean, went for $25. This is a good Mickey Mouse hat. Not all of the vintage ones will go for $25, but this was a really cool colorway. Next up was this vintage Minnesota Twins. This one went for $19. I had the white one sold for around $25. I took a $19 offer on this one. Cool 1987 World Champs with the rope. Really cool hat right here. Next up was this really good bundle of, I had a John Deere Craig Taylor Equipment Alaska full foam hat and a steel hat. $52 bundled up for these two. Really good price on these. And then always John Deere and steel. Make sure you look those up. They price really well. Next up was this Blockbuster video hat. Went for $17. Really good sales price on it. Mary swears that we had it forever, and we might have, but I don't think so. I think we've just had it over and over again. She might be remembering one from a year ago, but they sell pretty well. Next up was a really good sale on this one, and it just kind of got a different color, a different kind of style than usual. And this one was Nike. It was all blue with the blue logo. Went for $18 on a regular strapback dad hat. It's pretty good sale price, just because it was a little different. All right, next up, Bad Daddy asked about a week or so ago about Tiger Woods, and Tiger Woods is splitting up with Nike and how that's going to affect hat sales. And that's an excellent question. This one went for $20. One, it was white, super clean. I had seen Tiger Woods hats going down to around $15 to $10. So this is a little bit better selling price than I had been getting for Tiger Woods hats. And it is a pretty good shape. But I think that we'll see as the old logo starts to kind of fade away. If he changes up the logo and what exactly it's going to look like with him going on his own, I think we'll see these hats creep up in price. $20 is a good price on this one. Next up was a vintage Nissan 50th anniversary hat. Went out for $22. Really good sales price on this. This one was super clean on the inside. Really cool, kind of a panel hat with a nice 50th anniversary patch on it. Really super clean trucker. Next up was a franchise fitted. This one went out for $16. Always be on the lookout for these. It's hard to find your size sometimes and the style that you like. $16 on a casual dad hat that's fitted. Really good price. Then this Oklahoma Sooners hat went out for $15. It had this 16 on it, which made it a little bit different. But just a regular top of the world casual dad hat. All right, next up was this super clean Wilson hat. Went out for $12. Just like Wilson Golf. Golf hats are starting to take off a little bit. In the next couple of months, they're going to get really hot. So I pick up almost all the golf stuff in really good condition right now. It will sell well over the next couple of months. And right on cue, the next one was a Cobra hat, Cobra golf hat. Went out for $15, flex fit, really cool color. Cobra hats and all golf hats doing well. Next up was this Hurley hat. It went out for $20. Really nice logo. Nice. These, if you look around when you're out next time and you're eating, look at what everybody's wearing. We went to eat the other night and I think like 3 or 4 guys had a hat just like this. Maybe not even Hurley, but different brands with the circle round. This one happens to be like an octagon shape, but these logos are selling really well right now. and the Hurley hats usually do pretty well. This one was in really great condition, so it went for 20. Next up was another combined order. It took 16 for both these. Kind of a Pier 39, had this little visor forever, and a nice little Giants. This was a strap back, so they don't go for as much. 16 combined. Next up was another Nike hat. This one went for $15, just a regular black with the white swoosh on it. And then next up was this New York Yankees. This one went for $25. Really nice fitted New York Yankees, 7 1/4. Had this cool gray camo on it. Was in really great condition. $25 on this one. They got a great hat and great price. And next up is another theme for pricing up the hats and getting $20. This is gray camo as well. Audio, I think they used to make shoes, like skater shoes. This one was super clean, and it had the nice gray camo on it. $20 is a good sales price on this one too. Next up, another franchise fitted. This was St. Louis Cardinals. Really cool blue color, size large. Went out for $15. Next up was another combined order. We had an RVCA hat. We had an Element Skater hat, and then we had a Vans hat. Kind of a theme. All flat bills. I'm sure the buyer wanted this great bundle for $30. They got a good deal. Some really nice hats. Next up, another skater hat, Vans hat, Vans snapback. Went out for $12. Next up was Bill's Cafe. This one for $7.50, and these are the kind of trucker hats you don't want to list individually, unless you're buying bulk and you got to get them listed and sold. Just the regular with the miscellaneous town and business on them. Sometimes are a tough sell, and $7.50 for this one. Not a great price, but I'm glad it's going out. Next up was another combined order. This was kind of rough, Rocky and Bullwinkle hat. And then this Vans Warped Tour. These went out had this one forever. These don't sell, in case you're wondering. But this was a cool vintage Rocky and Bullwinkle. $15 for these two. Next up was a combined order. 2 Seattle hats. Went out for $27. 7 3/8 fitted, going out together. Next up was another John Deere hat. This one went out for $10.50 and had the rope on it. But it just wasn't vintage, and it was on this Nissan tag right here. Not necessarily the desirable John Deere you're looking for, but cool little hat. Next up was this Obey Propaganda. Just had it for a while. Took 15 on it. I thought it would sell for a little bit more, but I had the ear flaps on the side. This was a really cool hat. They got a great deal on this hat right here for 15. Obey hats usually pretty well. This one was just a little different, so it took a while to find the right buyer. Next up was this vintage blank 3-stripe trucker. Went out for $20 on this one. Really cool red, white, and blue stripes on it. The foam was still in great shape. Next up was a really cool Nike hat. This one went out for $25, and you can see it's faded, but this one was different. You could change the patches on this Nike out. You could take this Nike patch off, and then it came with a couple of extras, another bluish one, and then a red one. Really cool hat right here. I priced it up, didn't see any on the market, so I took $25 for it. Really cool Nike hat. Next up was this Boston Red Sox. Went out for $14. Gray is just a little different color. Even though it was kind of a rough shape hat, still went out for $15. Hey Arnold, he went out for $13. Nice little hat right here. Hey Arnold. Next up is, you can't believe that it sold until it does. This was a vintage, really torn up, beat up, kind of a beater hat for $7. Not sure why I listed it in the first place, but I did, and I sold it for $7. Pretty rough on the brim here. Really kind of a nice little vintage hat though. Next up was this Goods exclusive hat. Went up for $18. Really cool Old English G on the front. Had the Goods exclusive tag on the inside on the new era. 7 1/2. $18 for this really cool hat. 17. Next up was this Boise Hawks. Man, I could not remember. I always think Grizzlies when I see this. It looks like some grizzly bear claws or something. But it's Hawk claws. 7 7/8, so kind of big. So this one took a while to sell, but still went out for $17. It was this Reno hat. It went for $11. I would have probably been closer to $20 on this one, but it was missing the top button on it. Still really cool corduroy. Next up was a Boston Red Sox. This one only went for $10. And New Era hats are all over the place. This one was size 7, so it's pretty small. That's the reason it went for 10, in my opinion. Size 7 just takes forever to sell, and then they eventually get marked down and finally sold. So if you're size 7, you usually get a good deal on hats. Next up was this Durham Bulls. It went out for $11.50. Kind of this tie-dye all over it. Snapback. It was 47 brand. $11.50. Next up, Notre Dame's stuff's been selling pretty well lately. This one went out for $16. It was a new era, kind of an older Y2K, medium, large, fat, 16 bucks. All right, now we got some Macari up. We are almost out of boxes too. It's gonna be so close. This one went for $30 a bundle, 47 brand strapback, but this really cool Seattle one was a nice new era snapback, $30 for these two hats. And then we had an Adidas bundle on Macari as well. These two Adidas hats went out for 20 bucks. Then the Nightmare on, the Nightmare Before Christmas went out for $11 on Macari. And then a Ferrari hat went out on Poshmark, so I get to use a priority box on this one. So I think that'll leave us with a couple of boxes left. I don't know if I said the price, $20 on the Ferrari hat. It was like a flex fit. Didn't have a size in it, so I had to estimate the size too. And then a UCF hat, flex fit UCF hat, went out for $10 on Macari. Then a polo hat on Macari went for $16. It's on the newer tag, had the red pony on it, $16. Then a post office hat went out for $11 on Macari. These are hit and miss. Usually I can get closer to $20. This one sat around for a while. I think because it had kind of the bends and the brim like this. But usually post office hats are a little bit more. And then last up today is the Garth Brooks hat. This took forever to sell. This and only sold for $10. Garth Brooks hats are pretty mass produced, and they're not really a great selling price. And took quite a while. $10 on this one, and I think I'm gonna have to move some things around a little bit. I used almost every single box. I did use every single box in this house, but I'm gonna be to like 4 that are gonna have priority in them, and I might have to pay priority shipping for those 4. But hopefully my boxes get here tomorrow by the time we have to ship out again, because that was cutting it close. All right, there's some good ones in this bunch, guys. Let's look at this first one. This is back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, Pittsburgh Penguins. This went out for $12. Next up was San Diego Padres. Snapback went out for 20 bucks. Had a cool All-Star patch logo on the side. Snapback, had the cool underbrim. Pretty clean, good-looking hat here for 20 bucks. Notre Dame Fighting Irish, regular dad hat, strap back with the clover on it, went out for 10 bucks. Next up was a nice trucker, BF Goodrich, had this nice big patch on it, camouflage, pretty clean on the inside, really good looking hat, went out for 18. Next up, Salty Cruise, Sink or Swim, went out for 15 bucks, just a regular snapback with the mesh, pretty good sales price for a Salty Cruise hat. Next up, Seattle Mariners, regular dad hat, went out for 15. This was just a regular 47 brand, strap back. Dad hat. And a pretty cool beanie right here. Super Bowl champions, Green Bay Packers. They're still doing really well, so not surprised this one sold. 2010, going out for $8. Next up was this Ariat hat. Went out for 10 bucks. These are Ariat hats are hit and miss. Some of them aren't really made that well either. But this one went for $10. It was women's, had the pink cactus on it. All right, great hat right here. This went out for $80. And I almost dropped it. But this one went out for $80. And why is this one special? I know you guys may just look at this hat and think it's just any other hat, but it is definitely vintage. It is in beautiful condition. It's made by The Game. We've talked about this one before. It's a 3-bar. This hat I have on is actually a circle, The Game hat, which are pretty desirable as well to some collectors. But this one was a snapback, super clean, had the Made in USA tag right there. Really good hat. And Texas Tech is kind of hard to find in hats as well. So $80, really good sales price. Sold in about, I don't know, 3 hours. And so I may have actually priced it a little bit low. Maybe I could have squeezed a little bit more out of this hat, but I'm happy with 80 bucks. Next up was, this is Homestead Grays. This is Negro League Baseball. This was on the Roman Pro. It was definitely newer, and it was size 7.5. So really, really cool hat right here. Always be on the lookout for this team and this style of hat. They sell really well. All right, next up, this one sold in about an hour as well. Hearthstone. It's like a game or it's like a video game. And it sold really quickly for 20 bucks. There was another one or two on the market, but mine was international. They may not have been willing to sell international, so it's really important that you have that. ability on your account, and you're doing international if you can, because this one sold really quick and going out in about 3 hours. Next up was this Overwatch hat. These never do really well at all. This one went out for like $7. There's just a bunch of them out there on the market. It's tough to get rid of yours. Next up was this Stormy Cromer. This was a women's hat, and it was size 7 3/8, fitted. Really beautiful condition. Really nice hat right here. Got a lot of offers for like 15. I waited till I at least got 20 for this hat, because the men's Stormy Cromers can definitely go for 30 plus to $40, just depending on how good yours is. But I waited on this one, and the women's ones take a while to sell, but they're made really well too. Next up was this Vans hat. Went out for $10. Just had the cool colors on it. Regular snapback, mesh, and foam. I was starting to get worried I wouldn't sell this hat until next year, until November. But this was in a really great condition. Cabela's Gore-Tex hunting hat. It was like new. So I went ahead and took the $27 offer because no, I didn't want to carry it all year long. But I think you could maybe get a little bit more for this hat, being Gore-Tex and all. But I took the offer since hunting season just ended, and it might be hard to get rid of this one until next fall. All right, next up was like it's called 686 is the brand. Pretty nice little hat here. Had the ear flaps on it as well. Nice little winter hat. It was pretty much in brand new condition. This one went up for $15. USA hockey hat. This one out for $10. It was made by Zephyr. It was kind of a flex fitted, red, white, and blue. Cool little patch here. Next up was a vintage Oregon Ducks going international to Canada, I believe. It was Sports Specialties. Not very desirable logo, and had this one for a while, and it wasn't very clean on the inside either. So I took the $10 to get it moving. Next up was just a regular Tommy Hilfiger dad hat with a little bitty logo on it. It went for $10. And the light blue Carhartt, just regular strap back, went out for $13. And this vintage Audi car rope hat, it went out for $30 on Poshmark. Pretty good. It was on the Young and Snap, so really nice vintage hat right here. And the Punisher hat, it was really cool camo Punisher hat. Went out for $20 with the shipping on Depop. And last on Macari, I took this bundle deal. There was a New Balance lightweight running hat, and then a Levi Strauss 5-panel hat, and then a Syracuse orange beanie. So those all went out for $25 bundled up. All right, guys, let's see what's going out today. First up was this Baltimore Orioles franchise fitted for $14. Had a really cool logo on it. It was a little dirty, but sometimes these hats are hard to find in your size. $14 on this one. Next up was this Sports Specialties Gatorade Life is a Sport snapback hat. It went out for like $16. Pretty cool little hat. Next up was this combined order. We had a Titleist hat, we had a Nike hat, and then a Blazers hat. These all went out for around $30 combined, shipping going out on eBay. Next up was this Portland Trailblazers New Era fitted, size 7.5, was just a different colorway, so it went out for $20. Like I say, if you try to find the different colors, they usually do a little bit better. This was yellow and black, size 7.5, kind of older too, Y2K. Really good price on this one for $20. Next up was this USC Trojans Nike. This was a strap back. This one sold in about 12 hours. It was a classic 99, a little bit different color, strap back USC. Next was a Polo Ralph Lauren hat. Went out for $18, just a regular beige with the blue pony. It was the newer version. Here's the newer tag. Next up, Dallas Cowboys. Glad to sell this one for $11, going up. Next up, a good vintage hat right here. This is a Sports Specialties, the Twill. Here's the Sports Specialties tag. You always want to keep a lookout for these. This was Los Angeles Lakers, team of the 80s, world champions. Went out for $40. Not the greatest condition on this one, but still a really cool vintage hat. And definitely the tags that you want to look out for right here. Here's the Twill Sports Specialties. Keep an eye out for those. Next up was Baltimore Ravens. They're hoping to get this one by the game on this weekend. I think it's Saturday. But anyways, I hope it gets there to you on time. It's going out on Wednesday. We do have priority shipping in our store. If you ever want to get something a little faster, you can pay for it at checkout. And it went out for $11. And another one going out for the game on Saturday. The Texans hat. Hopefully it'll get there to you on time as well. But we'll see. Priority shipping, $8.95. And next up was this Sterling Truck Lines. This was a pretty cool vintage hat. Just didn't go for a lot. It was $11 on the Made in USA snap. Had a nice little pin on it too. $11. Next up was the Chicago White Sox. Had it for a while, and I found that these that have this under brim right here just typically do not sell for that. That have the spell out here don't sell for that good of a selling price, and this was a snapback as well, so $10 on this sock set. Next up, just a Vans hat, pink dad hat. It's going out for $7. Then we had a vintage Miller Lite, pretty rough shape on a painter hat. Went out for $12. And next up was a cycling cap. I can try to show you all sorts of different kinds of caps. Most of the time, these cycling caps go for around $10. That this one did. Sometimes you can get them in really nice shape. They can be closer to a $20 hat. But cycling caps usually stick around $10. Last up on Poshmark, this Columbia with the circle patch on it went out for $16. Pretty clean, good shape. $16 is a great sale on this.